what? Serving God is anything but a pleasure cruise. It's going to be anything but easy. And in reality, the kingdom is built by people who can carry a burden. If you would, go to 2 Chronicles chapter 2, verses 1 through 2. We're going to go on to read here. This is speaking of Solomon as he was building the temple of the Lord. You know, his daddy David had it in his heart to do it. God said, no, you're a man of bloodshed, and you can't be a partaker of this work. He ended up gathering resources and taking up offerings to build what he had in his heart. And God promised him that Solomon, his son, would be the one to build it. So we have Solomon here undertaking the plans of the temple. But it goes on to read in verses 1 and 2, then Solomon determined to build a temple for the name of the Lord and a royal house for himself. Verse 2, Solomon selected 70,000 men to bear burdens, 80,000 to quarry stones in the mountains, and 3,600 to oversee them. So you have him here putting together the plan and getting the resources and everything to execute it. And he set aside that there were 70,000 men who could bear a burden. If God's going to do anything with the kingdom, if he's going to do anything with you and I for his own glory, it's going to be because we can bear a burden. Nothing God has ever done in history has been done without people who can bear or shoulder a burden. You could have a burden to see a city get saved. You could have a burden to see a marriage get revived. You could have a burden to see a loved one get saved, or whatever it is. But you could be carrying something into the throne room every day that you go in to pray, that you carry day in and day out. It hasn't come to pass yet, but you're carrying it. And some of you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. It could be that thing that you can see a far way off, that God whispered to you years ago. You haven't seen it come to pass yet, but you're still carrying the burden. And look, there's a difference between being able to move something and being able to carry it. I could ask Dwayne to get up here and pick up this music stand, and I want you just to move it over here to over there. And you know what? It doesn't take much of an inconvenience for Dwayne to do that. Because all he's going to do is he's going to pick it up and he's going to move it over here, and that's it. But it's another thing, carrying something denotes that there's a responsibility that is going with it. That I'm not just going to pick something up and move it. If I'm going to carry it, I'm going to carry it. And I'm going to carry it through to wherever it is that it's supposed to go. And too many people have these miscarriages, let's say, of things that God has put on their hearts, and for some reason it doesn't come to fruition because somehow they just miscarry it and the ball gets dropped. A destiny goes unfulfilled. Something that God said he'd do goes undone because they weren't willing to carry it all the way through. If God's going to do anything in any of your lives, it's going to be because you were willing to carry and shoulder what it is that he asked you to, and to see it through.